Hello citizens, Councilor Gian-Carlo. Welcome to my multi-part series on the tools for enabling great neighborhoods, which is point one of my Great Neighborhoods mission at City Hall. If great neighborhoods make a great city, let's create the tools to make that happen. In the last videos, I talked about heritage, I talked about the developed area guidebook and all the work coming out of that, and I talked about the Main Street program, which represents the first major reinvestment in our inner city communities. The last thing I want to talk about is where point one, which is that we should plan and build great neighborhoods, meets point two, which is that great neighborhoods are not just places, they're also people. And the people are the people who live there, obviously, but it's also the businesses that operate there, and it's also the institutions that operate there, the schools, the churches, the not-for-profits. These are the lands, these are the living ecosystems of the places that are our great neighborhoods. And it's my belief that if we are going to engage in a next generation of local area planning and figure out what each of our neighborhoods is going to be when it grows up, then we need to sit down and have real conversations with the people of those great neighborhoods. Usually, and traditionally, we've done a great job of working with the residents. But what we need to do is we need to expand the conversation from just the residents to a larger group of people. And that's something that council took some time to wrap their minds around. We finally got there. We finally understood for a variety of reasons that we have great community level governance. We've got a great system of community associations in our city, but these are just residents, and we need to be able to bring residents associations, business communities, and faith communities and schools and everything like that into the mix. And that work was undertaken under the rubric of the community, I'm going to spell community right here, I hope, community representation framework. It's a lot of words, but what it's really talking about is what's the framework for the next generation and the best possible outcome for community representation. And so what the community representation framework did actually is it spent 2 years talking about the system we have, its pros and cons, and the things that we'd like to see. And what we'd like to see is we'd like to see more support at the local level for community-based decision making, but at the same time, we'd like to see more thoughtful, more inclusive, and more broadly representative community representation. And as we did this work, we had the exact same conversation that we had with local area planning. The local area planning led to the developed area guidebook. We realized that we can't plan for 155 communities across the city of Calgary, but we could potentially plan for 40 or 50. And if the mission is to get to a complete community, a place for people of all ages, all stages, all wages, a place where you have enough population to expect the school to always be filled with local kids, to expect the local merchant community to be able to survive serving our daily needs with the local dollars in pockets, when you have enough housing of different types that our local seniors can age gracefully in the communities that they help build, maybe not in the homes in which they raised families, maybe they move to more seniors appropriate housing, make room in the houses that are more family oriented for the next generation of families, but keep everybody in the neighborhood. Once we realize that to get to that level of completeness, a place where where the taxes that we collect in a local area support all the services that that local area consumes, we realized that we couldn't do it 155 times across the city. We had to start cutting the city up into districts or boroughs of about 40 or 50. And that work is going to take place over the next couple years as we talk about the historic boundaries of these larger units, and we talk about the neighborhood finer scale within them, and we talk about plans that unlock the potential and preserve the character of all of these places and set ourselves moving forward. We had the exact same conversation at the community representation framework, where we said, we can bring a lot of services to bear in the community. We can put a lot more love and attention from City Hall at the local level, a lot more capacity, but not only do we need it to be more broadly representative and more inclusive, we also can't do it 150, 160 times across the city, but maybe we can do it 40 or 50 times. So it was with that idea that we realized that we had to create these district scale community councils, and the community representation framework and the local area plan basically co-evolved into the same level. And so we're going to have to work very closely together to get these boundaries right, and not only get these boundaries right and set them on a path for success, but also understand that these larger areas are more fine-grained. And I always use the example of inner city communities because we used to be smaller units. We used to be neighborhoods. I mean, I can just, the community of Inglewood used to be Inglewood, but also Pierce and Walker Estates, and also East Calgary, and also Brewery Flats. The community of Ramsey used to be Ramsey, it used to be Mills Estates, it used to be Grandview, and it used to be Scotsman's Hill. And so at some point in time, we became these larger units. And right now we're trying to rediscover that finer grain within them. And so I think there's a fear that if we go to a larger scale, we're going to lose the fine grain. And the commitment has to be to get the larger scale and the finer scale right at the same time. And our local area planning exercise does that. And a broadly representative community representation framework does that as well. And so this is not about losing our character. It's about becoming more efficient, more effective, and allowing ourselves to dig into that. So those are the 4 big points that really start to enable and operationalize what I've been talking about for the last 8 years. And I'm proud to report that they're fully underway. And I hope I have your support in landing all of them. Developed Area Guidebook is underway, but we have to get it right. Heritage planning, we need more support from the community to get these legislated tools in place. The Main Streets program, we've got support, but we need to make sure this lands well, and we have to support this next generation framework for community representation. I hope I can count on all of you who have supported the Great Neighborhoods mission, because we are so close to making it actually work. Never hesitate to reach out if you've got questions or concerns. This is a living process. I want you involved, and I want your support. Councillor Gian-Carlo signing off for Great Neighborhoods.